Series number 3. Thank you. Today is Emergent Agents, and we're going to focus on the buyers at this point. It's the tools and tricks of working with buyers. So I've got a syllabus that I use, and in the syllabus, there is a ton of links. It is already in the chat. We'll continue to keep dropping it in the chat. And Tiffany, if you wouldn't mind, if anybody wants this syllabus at which to work from, because there's a lot of, as I said, a lot of links in there, feel free to go to GPS Global Partners. On the very first page of the gpsglobalpartners.com, bottom left-hand side is a link. That link will be, I think I've drawn a blank on the name of it. Wow. Daily downloads.
And give me 5 minutes and I'll have it up there for you guys.
Terrific. And you don't need it till we're done, because I'm going to share what that looks like today. Let's get into it. Okay. So everybody's heard that this lawsuit has gone through about how buyers are potentially not going to be, buyer agents are not going to be compensated from the listing side. Now, there's a whole lot of conversation going on what's happening with this. They just awarded, I think, $1.6 billion was the damages awarded for that in a class action suit. They immediately slapped a bunch of other companies with this suit. But I want you guys to think about the U.S. government and think about how the government works. Now, the idea behind government is to protect those most vulnerable. Their number one job is to protect us as their citizens. If the seller is represented by an agent and the buyer is not represented by an agent, what runs through my mind is that the buyer beware that the buyer is in harm's way, like really bad harm's way. Think about your skill set and your knowledge and what you know about contracts, getting in, getting out of them, holding people accountable, liabilities that the contracts put on people, where normally a buyer agent will protect the seller, or a listing agent protect the, or buyer and listing agent the seller. I personally believe that we're placing the buyers in very intrepid waters where they could be placed into harm's way. And I don't think I'm the only person that's going to see it that way. It is my sincere hope that we come to some form of resolution on how this plays out. But to have a bunch of buyers that are unprotected, in my mind, is going to place those buyers in a jeopardy position. Now, as Tiffany alluded to, and as we have to talk about this, the lawsuit that's out there right now, and the lawsuit that was just actually resolved at this point, the new ones that are coming, they state that the seller should not be responsible for paying for a buyer agent, paying the buyer agent side commission or co-broking the commission. I argue differently, but I'm not a lawyer, so I don't get to win those arguments. Here's the thing. We need to come with massive value. We all need to be prepared to help a buyer at a level that far and above compensates. Now, the initial conversation that I would have is, well, if they're not offering a compensation and the value of their property is, my fictitious number, $400,000, well, they're saving, meaning the seller is saving 2.5% to 3%. And of that, the real value of that property is $390,000 minus that. Either way, it is paid for by the buyer, or the buyer isn't paying for it. Think of it this way. If you're selling a home for sale by owner and there's no real estate commission being paid, we can expect it to be 6% below what true value is. True value is determined currently with commissions included. Now, listen, for everybody that's on the call, do me a favor, put your phones on. I want to see faces. It gives me the energy I need. And I've got a lot to share with you guys today. So if you're able, even if you're not able, just put your phone on. I'm not going to tease you. I want to see who I'm talking to. It does make a big difference to me, and I am truly grateful for it. Markham, you didn't have a choice. I would have driven down and kicked your dog had you not put your phone on. Thank you, brother. Good to see you. God bless you, my friend. As always, hello, Miss Chris. How are you? What a pleasure. Walking it. It's chilly up there. That's awesome. I love it. Andrea, thank you very much. Frank, always great to have you guys with us. All right. So for everybody else, Sashi, thank you too. Now I got your attention. I think we need to provide massive value. Let's pretend that they're not offering a compensation, that we have to come from value. And that's what today is going to be talking about. And I'm also going to talk about how to generate some buyer leads. perhaps some things you don't know. Our main focus is how do we manage the buyer side when we're working with a buyer? How do we impress them, show them that we are a professional? There's a couple of tools. So out the gate, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this with you so you get a glance of it, and then I'm going to shrink it down because it'll just get in the way. I'd rather talk, and then I'll pull it up as we need it. But I want to show you what we're looking at. This is the syllabus that's available for you. And really, it starts right here when we get into the buyer tools. There's a mortgage cost sheet we're going to cover. Buyer leads are in here, as well as some things I'll be sharing with you. But there's some links here which will help you. The buyer presentation, a lot of links included in here. What to expect portion, which is really part of the buyer presentation, affordability calculator, and our buyer agreement, which is a GPS version of a buyer agreement, is in here as well. So that's part of the download if you want it. Now, I'll share each piece of those, but I wanted you to see what all of it is in case you have to cut out or you've got something going on. Hopefully, you're going to get prospecting real soon, start making your calls. Before I do, let's call out the elephant in the room. This market sucks. Okay, with the interest rates at over 8%, the challenges we're all facing, it is not you. Jackie and I had a conversation this morning. We're like, what are we doing? Starbucks is off the table. There's no buying food every day. Let's literally plan on where we're going shopping. We are all looking for nickels and dimes because the market right now is slow. Here's the part that you want to sink in. When you get through this, there will be less out there and there will be a ton of buyers. Y'all think about this. If the interest rates were at 5.5% right now, just the people that I can see, a show of hands, do you think we would be flooded with buyers and sellers who want to sell and buy? Who thinks that the market would absolutely go nuts if our interest rates were lower? There's so much built up demand right now that it's going to happen. And the challenge I put to all of you is let's prepare. That's why you're here. But also, fight the days when it's like it's just raining crap on you, because you're not alone. Okay, you're not. Pick up the phone, call somebody that's with you, because we're all here together, and commiserate together, not for the sake of whining, but for the sake of, oh my God, I just feel like I'm drowning in this and I can't seem to make anything stick. You are not alone, and that is just a symptom of the market, and you've got to push through it, because at the end of the rainbow, this is where the longevity comes in. This is where a career will be built. It will be built on your tenacity through this challenging market, and it'll be built on you being prepared to capitalize on the market as it changes. My prediction is, catch this. So we have sorry, I'm going on a long time about this, but I think it's so important. I got to get your mind right. I got to get you thinking that there's something coming that's going to be better. So the Fed is meeting again. They just met yesterday, and they didn't do anything with the rates. Didn't expect that they would. There has been a ton of buying. This is knowledge you may want to pass on to your buyer. Everybody has been spending money left, right, and center. A lot, a huge, much higher proportion has been spent on credit cards. The general consensus is that that is not something that is sustainable, and that going into October, which we've just finished, and then November and December, we are not going to be able to use our credit cards as a community, an American community. We won't be able to use our credit cards to continue that spending, which will slow down inflation. We are spending into inflation. We did in the third quarter. We won't be in the fourth quarter. I predict that the Fed will lower interest rates in just another week or so. Now, at minimum, I think that they'll keep them flat. Either way, it's going to send a message that we are getting through this incredible recession or inflation we currently have, and that is light at the end of the tunnel. I also believe, regardless of your political venue or who you decide to opt for, that going into an election year, you do whatever it takes to make sure the election year has a strong or improving economy. Doesn't matter who you are. You're Democrat, Republican, Independent. Who cares? That is a very good strategy. And the only way to do that is to rip the Band-Aid off right now. You can't do that in May. And they are working diligently to improve the economy and to get us back to where things, think about this, small businesses can't borrow because the interest rates are too high. Okay, and that's the lifeblood of our economy. We have got to fix this. It is going to be tight. Hear me on this, folks. It will get better. It will get better in the short term, in the next couple of months. And those who stick with it and have skill and are prepared will be the new icons of the real estate industry going forward for probably the next 4 to 5 years. So this is your opportunity to be prepared. And we're talking about working with buyers at this point. Okay, I'm jumping right into this. We're going to nail this and go pretty quickly on this one. So what we're going to cover today, I want to show you, I'm going to give you guys a buyer presentation that I want you to adapt. Everything you need is right there, except for the actual binder. You'll have to buy one of these. But what goes inside of it, the start of it is there. Here's why. When we're done, you will be, when talking to a buyer, a professional and perceived and seen as a professional. That in itself will stand you in good stead. Now, for everybody out there, if you have not had enough, Mateo, what's up, brother? We got to call. I need to talk to you, my brother, as soon as we're done after the call. I'll give you a shout or give me a call as well. Sorry, Mateo is my partner in crime when it comes to putting things on in events. He is brilliant. And I just saw him. So Mateo, I'll call you when we're done. Personal side note, my apologies, everybody. Oh crap, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I'll carry on. So with this buyer presentation, this level of professionalism has to come across. Now, that's what I was going to say. If you are a member of us and you're a newly emerging agent, if you haven't done what I consider to be the bare minimums, I'm going to challenge you to hold yourself accountable as if you were your boss. And I want you to see 6 properties a week. That means go out and look at 6 properties and show them to yourself as if you had a buyer there, and get comfortable and good at presenting these properties. I would also encourage you, if you haven't already, take the valuation class, take the contract class. You need to be able to write a contract, value a property, open a door, show a home, have a buyer presentation where you can showcase the fact that you're a professional. And even if you're brand new, a buyer should be able to say, holy crap, this is different than just somebody who's opening a door. This is a professional. Now, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go through on the next one. I'm going to go through the actual live walking into a home, what to do, how to do it. If I have time, I can do it. We're done. But I need you to be a professional, and I need you to know how to open doors, show properties, write contracts, value homes. Don't have to answer it on here, but if you don't know how to do that, you will lose a $10,000 commission because they will see through the fact that you're not comfortable, that you haven't done it. I'm going to give you an example of something real quick that exemplifies what I'm referring to, and then we're going to dive into the hard tools for you and what they look like and how to go about using them. We used to have little super keys that were this big. They look like earpods. You had to plug them into your car. Now, this is back when cars actually had windows that cranked down. I'm showing my age, but literally we had to plug them into the car, and they charged in the cigarette lighter in the car. There used to be cigarette lighters in cars. And we would then go to the door and we'd open it up. The very first home I was showing, they were looking at buying a home. It was $300,000. That was a ridiculously high listing as far as I was concerned back in the day in 2005 or 3 when I got started. So I walked up to the door, and I had used this once before about 2 months earlier, but I hadn't. And it looked exactly like this. Pardon me. I am wearing Zoom attire. And so if you see me wearing shorts, haha. So I said, all right, well, let me get the door. This is real time, by the way. This is exactly what happened. I said, okay, let's go take a look. Hold on one second. I had a Palm Pilot at that point. So let me make a phone call. Something's going wrong with this thing. I didn't show the home. Bottom line is they didn't see anything else with me either because they knew I was inexperienced because I didn't do it. The next thing I was told to do by my coach at the time, he said, you will go and open 6 doors. You will write 2 contracts a week and you will value 2 properties a week. That's where I stole it from, a guy named Mike Krantz. And he made me do that for 4 weeks. And I became very, very, very good. If you're not good at that, you need to do it. Now let's pretend that you already have those skill sets all set. One of the things I would challenge you to do when you're meeting a buyer is you want to have something to give them that's tangible. This is my buyer presentation. We have 3 of them right up here when we go out. They get the same. This is an outdated one, but we have 3 that are up there that have been done that Jackie has on her computer, so I can't show you those. But bottom line is you need to have something to give them tangible. Today, we're going to talk about tools. The very first thing that we have in there is something called the mortgage cost calculator. It's a good idea to have one of these available where you can pull it up and take a look at it. And I will share my screen so you can see it. This is downloadable and it's available for you right now. And this is more of a reference point for you, not so much just for them. But as you'll see, this mortgage cost calculator, if it's kind of hard to see, but you'll have to trust me on this. If I make it bigger for you. Oh, there we go. It has the different mortgage rates. You can change the numbers in there and it tells what their principal and interest is. So at a glance, you can kind of give them an idea. It is a helpful tool to have. I like to keep one in the back of it. I bring it out just in case they have questions. Of course, you'll need to change the interest rates. Very easy to do. You can do that very simply by copying and pasting them in there. The next thing that you want to have is you want to have some form of presentation. I encourage you to have a binder. I use a 3-ring binder. It's a 1/2-inch 3-ring binder. I use it for my listing presentation as well. And there is a buyer presentation, which I'm pulling up for you right now. This is also shared in there. By the way, this is not complete. This is a start and it will need editing. So it's going to take some time. Cool. We all have a little bit of time. It's going to take some time so you can make it your own. Everything in here is editable. It talks about your home buying, welcome. It talks about the team, if you have a team. It talks about let me be your guide. Again, this can start off with 3 or 4 pages, and with that cost sheet on the back, you can have that in there as well. Perhaps that's where you give them the MLS pages. You're going to see what I call tear sheets when I'm showing a home, if I'm showing 2 or 3 properties. By the way, inventory is going up, so we're able to show to qualified buyers, we're able to show more than 1 or 2 properties. I would encourage you perhaps to have your primary lender's flyer information in there because you've got all sorts of room on the front, in the insides. That was actually from last showing, that was my MLS page that was in there, I think, as the example. Now, inside of this as well, what else can we put in there? Well, there's a ton of stuff that can go inside of there. What's going to make you stand out? What's the buying process? I don't have it, but on the very back page, maybe you put in here, you find somewhere the buying process. By the way, if you don't know it, this is EXP's buyer presentation. And I'll share it with you. If you go to the Marketing Center, EXP Marketing Center, which is inside of, let me sign in real quick for us. Change my password. If you're going in here, you can go buyer presentations pulled up. That's terrific. So you have these buyer presentations that you can take a look at, and everything you need for a buyer presentation is in here. What I'm challenging you to do is I want you to take what works for you. If you're doing a screencast, or you know what, let's just pull this one over. I can't pull it over. Anyway, if you go inside of this into all of it, into EXP, you're going to find that there is an absolute ton of information. What you're looking for is a slide that makes sense, or 2 or 3, and start building a presentation that works for you. I encourage you to make sure it's editable, but think about this. If you can talk not so much about you, but about them, what's the process? What are the do's and don'ts? In this presentation that I have, this buyer, let's see if I can find it in here. Hold on one second. Well, I'll share it because this is you guys should be able to see this. This is all stuff that's available for you right now. Before we begin the pre-qualification, now make this your own. How much can you afford? You now have your cost sheet on the back, so it's easy to figure that out. There's actually a link in here in this that Word or that document that I shared, which is in the downloadable document, has all the links in there. There's one for a mortgage pre-qualification. I happen to have mine through Realtor.com. That's just easy where I can play with it on my phone. Loan application checklist, what's included in here. The 10 commandments when buying a home. I love this one. What I would do for this, though, if it were me, and actually we did that, is I'd make that more fun, because really the 10 commandments are don't buy furniture and do make sure that everything's paid on time. If you're able to pay your things down, you're going to make it where, and it's got to be you guys. It has to be you. It's you communicating to the buyer that you're a professional. Now, again, in here, this is where I place all the homes we're going to see. So they have everything in front of them right here, as well as the presentation. I refer back to this on a regular basis. Here's a little footnote. We're going to cover this in a couple of weeks, but I want you to get in the habit of doing this. When you show a home and you're showing a home to a buyer, I want you to start giving homes nicknames. So when you walk in and say, I like to nickname homes, and I have to share this because this is so important. I'm taking you all out to see a property. I can actually use my super key, and I've done this enough time that I know what I'm doing. You've got the presentation. So, okay, great. So the home we're going to see, to this home, this is that pool home that overlooks the water. It is terrific. And I walk in and there's spider webs in the corner of it. It really isn't very clean because I usually start with what I think is the worst home and move to the best one so that they can move the buyer position along. And on this one, I said, well, all right, so I'm going to give this home a nickname. I'm going to call this the spider web home because they obviously didn't spend time getting the spider webs out. Then we go see another home, and this home doesn't have a pool, but it's in really good condition, except that the kitchen is completely outdated. So I'm going to give this home a nickname. I'm going to call this the outdated kitchen home. Now, here's the question that I go for it. I said, so in this case, I'll just pick somebody out of the random on this one. Chris, it's you and me today, brother. You don't have to answer, but I'm just going to use your name on this one. So Chris, between the spider web home and the outdated kitchen home, which one's your favorite? And Chris would say, well, I really like the outdated kitchen. No, better yet, I like the spider web home because I can fix that and I want a pool. So I grab from him. Now, remember, he has all the homes in here that we're seeing in order, in the right order. So I said, okay, great. Let me borrow that sheet from you. This is the outdated kitchen home. So I take that sheet, I fold it up, I put it on my clipboard on the back, and I say, now we're ready to go. Okay, so then we go to this next home, and this home actually backs up to conservation. It's a beautiful property, and I love it because it has a phenomenal hardwood floor. The hardwood floors are real hardwood floors. So we go through and we see this home, and I can tell he's kind of digging this one. So I'm like, all right, so I've got to ask you that tough question, Chris. Between the spiderweb home and the hardwood floor home, which one do you prefer? And he goes, well, I still like the pool. I said, great. Give me the hardwood floor paper, please. And I take that and I take it away from him. So he's only left with the one he wants. Again, after around 2 or 3 houses, they'll start giving it a nickname. It becomes a game. It's fun to do. But here's the part that's more interesting. He's going to hate giving you back that piece of paper because it leaves him with one choice. He's narrowing the choices as we go through. Now, you still have them and you can bring them out if he needs it. But based on what you're telling me, this is our odds-on favor. Now, I'm, of course, taking notes on what he likes about it on my sheet, on my page. And here's just a little trick on when you're showing a property, especially when you get to the ones that are really kind of, they're buying property. Said, listen, your job is to go in at this point, get a feel for the home. I'm going to turn you loose because I'm going to start looking at some mechanical things to make sure your emotions match the value or something to that effect. What they want from you is validation that their emotions are accurate, that they're not making a mistake. Nobody wants to make a mistake. Open up the kitchen cabinets, look underneath, or the kitchen under the sink. Is it leaking in there? Spend a minute in the garage, taking a look at the water heater. Looks to be pretty good. We're, of course, going to get an inspection. I didn't see any real cracks or issues. The foundation looks pretty good. Again, an inspector will verify that. You're going to validate by your actions and then by your words as we get through this process. Now, remember, our dear friend Chris, he's still hung up on the pool and he doesn't give a damn about the spider webs. And he's looked at 3 other homes and this is still the winner. Well, shame on me. This should have been the last home I showed, not the first home. But the bottom line is he keeps qualifying them out. Does that make sense? Y'all, just a simple nod. Y'all get how the verbal communication is important, as is what you're doing. Okay, let's go back to this presentation. You're going to build a presentation that I hope is a very strong one. I want to spend a moment or two talking about where buyers come from. Obviously, number one, your database, the people that know you. if you're posting on social media, Chris, chime in if you want to, because you're my resident expert, that says, hi, I'm a real estate agent and yay, that's not going to do anything. There's intention here. Actually, I won't bother Chris because she's walking on this one. But if she's speaking, please listen. I'm going to tell you a secret about her as well. All right. So she does an amazing business, a lot of commercial at this point, and she doesn't really like people that much. It's true. I swear to God, it's true. She's not a people person. She's not like outward and going, but she's very purposeful in what she does with social media. Now, I want you to consider that if social media is a venue at which to receive buyers, that's terrific, but you must be purposeful. It's not winging it. She's not just making things up as she goes. She has a strategy that's proven, and I'm going to brag on you a couple seconds, Chris, to just sit there and smile knowingly, but she's followed and modeled, ripped off and duplicated, which is R&D, done what works, seen what doesn't work, and then focused on what does work and had a legitimate strategy. It doesn't mean social media won't work, but I don't want to ever give you guys the idea that it's just kind of fly by night. It's not. The successful people have a plan and they follow the plan and they take action. That being said, I want to show you a couple of hacks for the lay people like myself, since I'm not a social media expert. Anybody here interested in seeing how to generate some pretty easy leads that can come through social media and their cost is free? You good with this? I'm going to show you how to do it. Before I do, and this is where I need some interaction on this one, what would be something that people would be interested in? I'll give you a tease. Sometime around February, March, April, and May, they're interested in homes for sale in the best high school in the area. I live in Central Florida, so for me, that would be like Winter Park, or we have a couple other great schools. The Windermere School District is excellent. I'm going to create a search that is high school specific, and I want that out there. And then I will spend a little bit of money, like $1 a day, to push it out in social media. You could do that very, very easily. I want to challenge you, though, to think about what would be of interest to people where you would stop their scrolling and they might catch it. Let me show you how this works. All right. So this is a post I created. Now, I know this is very difficult to read, so I'm going to read it for you. Steal these foreclosed homes. Discover the best value homes in Orlando. Are you looking for a great deal in your next home? Now, by the way, steal these foreclosed homes. That's the hook. That's what gets them to read it. And then there's some bullet points in here. And it says, click on the image below. And as you scroll down, let's post this so we can make this go live. But this is a list of all the foreclosed homes in Florida, in Central Florida, in the Orlando area. And if they click on this link right here, it'll open up a search. Y'all can see this. Is that correct? Thumbs up. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. This is all the foreclosed homes in this area, in the greater Orlando area. I drew a map. There's a little map feature up here. Now, you can post this out, and then you can boost this post. Now, here's the thing. A boosted post will go to your friends. There's a good chance your friends are real estate agents. A lookalike post will go to their friends. Or you can boost it out based on demographics, and that is simply geographic, because we are in housing, and housing you have to be careful of. I am not implying you give this a lot of energy or a lot of money. I'm not saying you spend thousands of dollars on this. In fact, I'm saying that you spend $1 or $2 and test what you wrote for 10 days, a whopping $20. Now, sidebar here. Spoiler alert. That's from KV Core. I'll show you how to create it right now. And putting that post in there, super, super easy. You can do that all day long. What happens when they get into KV Core is important. Now, here's for anybody that has people in there, whatever CRM, doesn't matter what CRM you're using, but if you're using KV Core, I'm going to use that as an example, but I mean any CRM. If somebody that you're communicating with, and obviously our goal is to communicate with them until they communicate back with us. That's what we're trying to do. If somebody you're communicating with, or that's in your search in some way, if they search and see one home 2 times, look at one home 2 times, to foster that communication, go out and shoot a video in the home. Hey, I just wanted to, I know you looked at this home and I was in the neighborhood. I thought I'd real quickly shoot a video because you can't smell cat on the internet. And it's actually a pretty cool home. Here, let me show you some features of this home. Oh, by the way, this is George. It's great to meet you properly. And then send that to them. 90% of them will reply back and say thank you or something else. And here's the important part, folks, with everything else, including this, we're separating ourselves from the norm. We're different than others. Are they going to buy right now? Who knows? Are they going to buy in the future? More likely than not, or they wouldn't actually be searching. So you're creating relationships, and these relationships are built over time. If you did this right now, let's say you were searching foreclosed properties because everybody wants a deal. That's why I chose that. I'm going to show you how to do it in just a couple seconds. If you're searching foreclosed properties, it's easy to communicate what to do or how to market that out. And for the record, I actually wrote this exactly. Write an ad for Facebook post that has a link being showcased that shows foreclosed homes in Orlando. Use bullet points to get somebody to click on the homes. These are the best valued homes in the area. And it wrote it for me. Now, I'm not saying that's the best, but it's a heck of a lot better than I can write. And then I can just tweak it a bit. Now, think about this, though. Think about it as we're setting up a search, and I'll show you how to do that. And I want you guys to think about what else could I niche down on and search, like, I don't know, April and May and June. All the homes for sale in the absolute best high school district around where you live. Let's take a look at what you have power to do right now. So recapping, I posted this. It says, steal these foreclosed homes. Of course, I would edit this at this point. Let me do it real quick. And I'm going to make this. Well, I would make that bold, but I don't know how to do it because I'm not that technically advanced. I'm back to here we go. So this is, I'm in EXP, or excuse me, I'm in KV Core. If you go to KV Core, you go to your name, you'll see a little world circle there. That is your website. When you pull up your website, it's going to look something similar to this. Actually, we'll do it so you guys get a full view of how this works. So I click on my personal website. Everybody has one. You're in the search mechanism up front. Just click on search. That'll bring you to the next level. It's doing its thinking right now. Top left-hand corner, there's a little map there. Or I can go to more filters, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to type in, let's see, what is that? Dr. Phillips High School. Now, I know you can't see that. Let's see if we can make it bigger for you. I typed in Dr. Phillips, and Dr. Phillips High School is a high school nearby us, and I want that to be what I'm looking for. And you can do this with elementary schools. Now, this is very important. On this right here, you've got single-family condos, land. I don't want land. And others, look, it's got commercial, income, villas, and pending. I don't want those either. So I've really made it what I want. I'm not putting anything else in here, and I'm going to click Apply Filter. Now, this will show any home, all the homes that are available right within the Dr. Phillips High School. Now, on these filters as well, and I'll just run this through for you. Again, I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it. You can also do, it's hard to see, but this right here, this button says foreclosures. Newly reduced best deals, specific area, seller financing, golf course front homes, the most expensive pool homes. You're trying to create searches. Now, folks, currently what we have in this search is the Dr. Phillips High School. This URL up on top, I'm going to hit Control on this URL. I'll go to a new site or a new page, and I'm going to paste this. This is Evergreen. Anywhere you paste it, it will show up. Anytime somebody goes here and they click on it, they will click on one or two. I have mine set that they have to register after 2. These are all the homes available in the Dr. Phillips High School. Maybe the subject line reads something like this. Kids going to Dr. Phillips High School? These are the best homes in that zone. Looking for the best foreclosures? The most expensive golf course homes in Orlando. I could click golf course. This link, though, and this is the important part, it's evergreen, which means it'll never not search there. So I save it on an Excel spreadsheet. I have Dr. Phillips. I have a bunch of different things. And give me 1 second, Pierre, and I'll get right to you. I promise you I will, because I know you're going to add some great value to this. The thing is, what are you sending out? And if this were part of your repertoire, they're going to go to your KV core, and you have an opportunity to get leads at almost no cost. Now, what you do with those leads is up to you. Now, there's of course different things, but I want to jump over to Pierre real quick. Go for it, brother. What do you got? Maybe not. I think we lost him. That's too bad because he
Here,
always...
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
cool. Good. Bring awesome. What do you got?
Okay. Because we do have some emerging agents here,
Mhm.
and I want you to be extremely clear to them on this.
Yes, sir.
When we mention things like schools, I'm sure your wording is very specific so that you are not in an area where you may be giving them an opinion of your own. Is that true?
Well, actually, wow, thank you. When I'm talking real estate in a public forum like this, I can state very easily a factual thing. All these homes are within the Dr. Phillips High School, which is an A-rated high school and considered one of the best in Orlando. That's the extent of how, and I said, if you want to find them, here's great deals. We can help you with this. And I can go into my services, but I've got to be very careful. There's no steering ever. We have to be super cautious about what we do as far as what we're saying. And just be aware that it is, our mission is to not alienate, not to offend, to support completely everybody. Now, I know you've got something else with that, Pierre, but that was my take on it, and that's how I do it. It's a great topic you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, I will actually give them sometimes even links to other places where they can go and validate some information, so that I'm not the source. I'm just a reference point.
That's a really good point. In fact, if anybody's searching through schools, as a matter of fact, I'm going to add that to the repertoire because we do our schools in March. That's when we start putting schools out all over the place because it brings people in, and that's usually the moving time. So yay. But one of the replies would be, hey, I know you've looked for the school districts are important. Here's a link to School Digger. We use that for rating our schools, and you might find this very helpful in your search. How else can I help you? So that is awesome. Do you see, but so what he's saying is he's not just limiting himself to one. You won't go wrong with school districts. You won't go wrong with anything that's inside of EX or inside of KV Core and almost all search engines or CRMs and search engines, because they are designed for real estate agents to make sure we're not illegal. You got to be careful. You're saying this place has no crime or this is next to a Catholic church or a mosque or a synagogue. You can't go there. Okay, you got to be I challenge you all to be very educated on what you cannot say. But remember, if you're talking about servicing a housing need without getting into very specific preferences, which you have to do one-on-one and be cautious of that too, you'll be fine with what we're just talking about. And Michelle has got her hand up. Pierre, you got anything else? Because I want to get to Michelle real quick before I jump into something else.
Right to the back here. I'll take a swim.
Okay. You're awesome, brother. Michelle, you have your hand up. What's going on?
Hey, I have a quick question about what you could say in regards to this scenario.
Okay.
Helping a buyer. We found a house yesterday. To be honest with you, it's lipstick on a pig. And I'm nervous about saying just that because I don't know if there's going to be another house in their price point that's going to be in this area that they love. And so I don't want to deter them from the fact that they love this house. Can I say it? Is that something that I could easily say? Or do I just try to point out why it's lipstick on a pig?
George, can I jump in on this one?
Yeah, go ahead, Pierre, for sure. And I got a comment on this as well. Absolutely. So all of you that don't know Pierre, you get to meet him in a private environment, but he's incredibly knowledgeable. He's super well-informed and a partner in crime to the 20th degree. If you see Pierre speaking, listen, go, brother, and I'll take your back end.
Michelle, we come across this specifically when we're in some of the lower end price ranges. I think and George goes into this in many of his classes. One of the things that we need to educate them in is an inspection period. So if I was looking at a house and we know the conditions of some of these, we know that someone slapped some paint onto it. We are not inspectors. It's not our opinion. We cannot steer. but I might go into one and look in the corner and go, oh, there's a little stain up here in the corner. Let's make a notation of that to ask the inspector during inspection. So don't deter them from the process, but make sure that they're well informed that they're going to want to have this home really looked at by an expert, an inspector, and let them make the valuation and judgment for themselves. That's the way that I normally handle it, because there's only so many in their price range. George?
Dead on that. Do not talk somebody out of buying a home. If you have an opinion, remember it is your opinion. Now, that does not mean that your opinion isn't valid, but it is yours. And there may be underlying things that they haven't mentioned, like we have to buy a home right now. And buying a home is better than not buying one. If there's a structural issue, the inspectors will find it. You can point it out. That may be a concern, but be very careful about talking people out of buying homes, and in reverse, be very careful about talking people into buying homes. If somebody wants to buy it, the inspection will take care of answering their questions, and it's valid to bring them up. But ask them, what is it that you like about this home? Why is this one the one that's the right home for you? What makes it right? Get into finding out what they're thinking, because you may be very, very surprised that they said, we just need to have a home because our daughter needs to go to school. We need to register tomorrow and we don't have a choice. And our daughter's school is the absolute most important. We'll fix this and make it work. Okay, that's a good answer. Michelle, you and I talk quite frequently, so I can say this because I know the scenario, I know your circumstances. But for everybody else out there, please remember, and Jackie does this, my wife, so I'm guilty of this as well. I want to show them that I'm an expert on why this home doesn't work, and sometimes I talk too much, where I should really be asking questions. What do you love? What do you like? Why is this work? What doesn't work? What's the issues? What are the concerns? The inspector will answer it. And they're going to ask you, well, what do you think? I said, well, you know, I did see a crack in the garage. That's usually settlement crack because I'm not an inspector or an engineer. And I'm kind of concerned about that. And there was a little bit of a leak. Remember, I'm the guy that goes and opens doors and looks at things when they're getting emotionally attached. I'm going to support it. I said, all in all, it's a pretty good neighborhood. I can comment to that. Don't talk them out of it to try and show off. I'm not implying you are, Michelle. Ask them questions to find out what their priorities are, because our number one job is supporting their priorities. It's not being an expert, not in the quality of the house. It's being an expert in the value for sure. So, Michelle, did that help at all? I really want to caution against going too much to it.
Yeah, I think that I'm just getting overly emotional and involved with pretty much all my clients, but I just know that the wife is not happy and she's trying to be happy for her husband. So I was just trying to peel the onion, but you're right. I need to just ask questions, have them answer it, take a step back, not offer opinion.
100%. It is not your responsibility to tell them that. Now, Moses brought up a good question. Is it okay to mention things like what we like about the property? Absolutely. But remember, we don't want to sell it. We're not trying to push it. You know, you walk into the house, you're like, wow, I really like the high ceilings here. And particularly if you can kind of compare it, Moses, remember that first house, the cobweb house? I said, I love the high ceilings here. The cobweb house didn't have it. In fact, I think I'm going to give this one the nickname of the light and airy house, because it's really light and airy, although it does have some issues, you know, whatever it says. Does that help, Moses? We don't want to push our opinion as the gospel and as actual truth, but you can absolutely volunteer your opinion. And remember, get excited with them. Up to this point, and I got to bring this back up again because I think it's important. Natasha, I sent you a message. Please check your private messages in the chat messages, if you would. If they're excited about it, say, all right, this is pretty cool. Go take a look. I'm going to start looking at mechanics and start to get a feel for some of the things that I need to look for to make sure that our emotions are supportable, but go have fun. And they're like, oh my God, I just love this kitchen. This island is great. You're like, yeah, this would be terrific for Thanksgiving. Can you imagine? It's not wrong to support what they're supporting, but you don't want to embellish. You don't want to lie. You know, if it's like, if the countertop is literally falling off, they're like, oh my God, I can see Thanksgiving dinner. I said, yeah, you really just need a piece of plywood on this. It'll be good. That's probably selling lipstick on a pig, to coin a phrase from Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. But our job is to help them. And they're obviously looking to buy a home. So help them with their decisions, help them with their thought processes as they're going through the process, support and validate them with integrity in mind at first. I think we've kind of covered that one. I want to get to one thing that's really important, then I want to open it up to questions. So a couple things, well, quite a few things. I missed one thing that's in here. By the way, in this is my contract. This is an as-is contract in my state. It is in every one of them, and I highlight some of the things that are very important. And I put this in here because they're going to read this when they get home. In my world, since I always drive, when Jackie and I are driving around, Jackie would be reading this on the way home or in between stops and houses. How can we showcase with something tangible while they're doing it that you're a professional and you are there? By the way, this is just a little footnote for you. When you are putting their properties in there, please put in the upper left-hand or right-hand corner with something big, number 1, number 2 in the order, because they will mix these up. I guarantee it. And you'll be like, oh, let me sort it out. I don't remember which one we're going to. I got to look at my list and their list. That'll save you some trouble. I want you to walk in knowledgeable, powerful, professional, and be able to validate that. Hence the reason this is as important as going to see 6 homes a week, writing 2 contracts. If you are not writing 2 contracts, if you haven't closed at least 5 homes, you should be writing 2 contracts. Pick your sponsor, your mentor, say, listen, I want to send you 2 contracts on properties I'm practicing on. Would you please spend 5 minutes and tell me what I missed on my contracts? And send it to them as if they're the buyer, and then hold and have them help you. They will gladly do that. It's not a big deal. It only takes 5 minutes to go through it, and you will get so good so quick. Now, of course, if you're writing a real contract, have a mentor or a partner in crime review it for you, because we want it perfect all the time. But you have to do the hard work. Don't depend on that, because they're going to ask you a question about those contracts in whatever state you're in. And if you don't know them, you will look foolish. And foolish doesn't work. Foolish means you're not going to get their client or their business. I want to show you guys something else before we're going to do the buyer agreement. Well, let's do the buyer agreement first. So in here is what I consider to be probably singularly the most important thing, and that is our buyer agreement. This buyer agreement is a Word document. You can edit it. You can do anything you want with it, and I'm going to read it to you because it is, in fact, not binding. I have to say that again. It's not binding. It's not going to hold them to it. It doesn't matter. The act of them pen to paper is what makes it most important. And this is in the back pamphlet right before the as-is contract right here. This is where I keep it. And after I see the first home, I pull it out, and within a plume, I take out my pen and I said, this is my commitment to you. And I want to read through my commitments. Now, I'm not going to read this top portion because it's very difficult to read. By the way, again, Word document, you edit it. Get rid of this GPS part on top if you don't want it. You do whatever you want. Make it your own. But here's the thing. A free, no obligation pre-qualification from a suite of lenders of your choosing. I have 2 lender flyers in every pre-listing or every buyer package that has all the information, the contact information about the lenders. Both of these are my favorite lenders. They're excellent. Choose whoever you want, but I definitely want you to shop prices. That's a script, by the way. Okay. Cutting edge services, including access to the MLS foreclosure networks and for sale by owner listing, private showings on any and all, certified negotiation expert on the team. Now, take that out if you're not. Jackie is a licensed certified negotiating expert. Or you can say, because almost every one of you is a partner of me, that you have a certified negotiating expert on your team because I'm on your team. We're partners. We're on the same team. If you want your team to be the GPS group, have it. You and 100 of your or 1,000 of your partners are there. You can do that. You need to be great. Remember, if you're skilled, I'm going to stop this for a second. If your skills don't look like you're great, if you can't open the door, value property, show a home, write a contract, answer a question about a contract, present a very good package that showcases not you as an expert, but your expertise and your ability to guide. Here's the thing, footnote. Please, for the love of God, if you are implying that you need to put your information in there, do not under any circumstances put it anywhere except at the absolute very, 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 very last page, very end of it. Because they don't care, and they shouldn't. They don't know you well enough to care yet. And you are not the reason they're buying a home. They're buying a home because they need a home, and the process is more important. So start with think about it. If you're buying a home, Do you care if I show it or Jackie shows it, especially if you don't know us? No. What you care is that we're professional and, oh my God, they're looking at the right things. And holy cow, there's great information in here. And I really like their follow-up and they're professional. I'm starting to trust them. Oh, they have kids. Oh my God, they're married. Who knew that? Why did Jackie marry that guy? She could do so much better. That doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is exactly how that should list out, start to finish. Okay, let's go back to this a plume me big deal signing, because this is really, really important. And this is going to be even more important as we're going forward, particularly the lawsuit. Assist in the preparations of an offer that is in your best interest. That's highlighted on purpose. Discuss strategies for offer. Obtain answers to any and all questions. Present offers on your behalf. Get you the best price. I have a full list of vendors and I can coordinate all final documents. And for you, your obligation is to let me know of any home you want to see so that I can schedule it for you. Give me honest feedback about all the homes we see, including the bad feedback. I want to know what you don't like because it helps me better serve your priorities. And if you're going to see a for sale by owner or a new builder, a new construction or anything like that, just let them know that you're working with us and that we're representing you in the purchase of the home. Current value proposition, there's no cost, but I'm positive we can help save you money and more importantly, negotiate better on your behalf. And please make any offers with our assistance so that we can do the same thing, save you money. So really, this is my commitment to you. Does that sound okay? And I asked them that, are you okay with that? They're like, absolutely. So I take out my pen. I'm like, watch this. And I sign it. I go, here, give me your John Hancock on that. That's my commitment to you, and I want you to keep it. They're like, oh, no problem. So they sign it, they do that. So one thing, let me take a picture of that because our team, we like to make sure we live up to our obligations. Click, I got a picture. I now have a buyer agreement. Now, the normal buyer agreement you'll find in your MLS or that you'll find available, and please check with your state broker to make sure of it. It is a 2 or 3 page document many times, and it is long, it is cumbersome, and the truth of the matter is, not only do I not like reading them, but if I'm a buyer, sure shit ain't going to sign it. This one's pretty straightforward, and if you see something in here you don't like, get rid of it. Here's the important part. By them putting pen to paper, Natasha, if you're able to talk, because she's awesome and I haven't spoken to her in a while, I would love to get your feedback on this and your opinion. Natasha is a partner of ours up in the Joliet, Chicago area, runs a team, very, 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 very skilled and an expert on this. But by putting pen to paper, that is an emotional commitment, which is enough to bind them to you, assuming you provide a high level of service, assuming that they can trust you. And that will stand the test of time as opposed to just willy-nilly. And most importantly, we call out for sale by owners, new construction in here. Let us know, let them know. Natasha, do you have anything to say on that as my resident expert partner? If you're here, she may be busy. Damn, I think she's busy with somebody because she sometimes will jump in and out and she listens to this in the background. Bottom line is, folks, 100%. It will help them get emotionally attached to the relationship. It is critical. Pierre, my pleasure, brother. God bless you. Love you, man. I miss you. I'll see you soon. I want to share something with y'all that it's listing sides, but I'm kind of excited about this. We're going to be covering this in a local event that we're doing on Thursday, next week, this Thursday. Can y'all see this? Give me a nod of the head if you can see this. This is a listing package. Now, there's another brokerage out there. It's called LPT, and the owner of the brokerage is a gentleman named Robert Palmer. I know Robert very well. He's actually somebody I consider a very good friend. LPT stands for Listing Power Tools. It's a product he created years and years ago. And don't misunderstand me, LPT is great. The challenge with it is they don't have leadership at the level of agent leadership at the level we do. And I would challenge you to find somebody who's doing what you want to do and hang out with them. We got a gazillion of them in EXP. That is our secret sauce. We're actually higher value and better training. Anyway, we created something very similar. And if you go to a listing, you should have one of these. Now, inside of these is all sorts of different marketing, as well as a rider that goes directly to you. And it's got postcards, flyers, everything you possibly need. That's not really the power of it. This is the power of it. And I want, and now obviously having all of this available at our disposal is very powerful in a listing presentation. And you remember how I talked about the buyer where I show up looking like a professional? For a listing presentation, I walk in and this is under my arm like this. And when I sit down, I place it on the table right back yonder. And I have a conversation with them about what my listing presentation is, and I'll cover that with you. And they said, what's the box? I said, I'll get to it. It just covers a little bit of the marketing we do. And I thought I'd show you this right up front. The curiosity is what gives that power. And this is something that you buy once and it costs like $89 to have it shipped for you. And it's got all the stuff in it and all. And it works very, very well because every bit of this is available in our marketing that we have for EXP. So the marketing side of it is absolutely free. Obviously, everything costs money to print because that's just how that works. Bottom line is, though, I just want you to get the listing. That's a powerful tool. We'll cover that in a couple of weeks when we do this. Folks, we've covered building a buyer presentation, and this is something that's going to take effort. There is a ton of it available for you right now in this this document that is now shared, and I'm going to make sure I drop it at the very end of it so anybody that's joined has it and they can just grab it. It's also in the GPS Global Partners, our website, and it's on the very front page of our website at the bottom. Let me send this to you all real quick. All these links are live links. Every bit of this is important, and we have the time. Please build your listing presentation or build your buyer presentation. Have a presentation where you can start adding to it. Have your two lenders send you flyers that are nice, glossy flyers. Get them in there. That's half of it. Put your listing agreement or your purchase agreement in there. That's part of it as well. Create from what I've provided you or what you get from our marketing center or what you get online or what you get from Tom Ferry. I don't care where you get it. Take them out and start making your own. It can be 2 pages. It can grow to 20 pages. What is valuable? You have got to be your own boss and do the work of building yourself. You only have to do it once and then you supplement it. But when you show up for a buyer consultation with everything that they need in one place, professional. Now, is this the best presentation? Absolutely not. But this is a heck of a start, and then make it better. I love bragging on Max Wordlaw. Max does our open houses, which is a wonderful lead generation source. He does a class on it every other Monday. I encourage you to participate. I shared a lot with him when he first got started, and he made it better and better. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to take whatever you've got and then add to it and improve it. I used to have, see if I still can show you this. Years and years ago, I had a listing package that was a pizza box. And it started off as a folder with a little, those slides with the plastic on the outside, had some things in there. It got to a pizza box that had a DVD in it that was my listing presentation along with popcorns and 2 dice because we wanted to make sure it rattled around, and pens and and the seller's disclosure and a personal note from me. A seller home improvement. Anyway, we just kept adding to it. And it got to the point where I would take 90% of the listings. The box would get there a couple of days ahead of time. I'd ask them if they had a chance to review everything. They'd bring me their seller's disclosures already filled out. The listing appointment was basically done. With our buyer side presentations, we go and we show a home to a buyer. And if they're not making an offer on that home, we have an 88% capture rate that they will buy a home with us if they buy a home in the next year. Because we started off with less than 50%, it's now at 80%. And that's what I want you guys to get. It's okay that you're not fully ready yet. But what's not okay is that you don't take action today. And you can and you should. And we've got a market coming that is going to absolutely explode. And I track it. I track it every month. I do a monthly report that I send out to everybody. And if you want it, you can just go to the YouTube channel and you can see it there if you want to, but please do me a favor for my algorithm, watch the whole damn thing. You need to be better now than you were yesterday. And the same thing going forward. If you put forth an hour a day doing WOB work, working on your business, and if you can come up with a better acronym than WOB, let me know, because that just sucks. But you get the idea. If today is buyer presentation day, okay, so maybe what you do is you call Amazon and you order up 5 half-inch binders, 3-ring binders with plastic on both sides, and you start going through and you put together some things that you need real quick, and you shoot a text out to your primary lender and your sponsors. I'm assuming whoever your sponsor is, their favorite lender. You say, hey, listen, I want to put you in my buyer presentation. I need a flyer sent out. Can you mail them to me or have somebody drop them off? And they'll say yes. Now you got 2 buyers. You start putting together the presentation. You've got your binders on the way. You pull off some of the stuff I've given you and you say, all right, I'm going to include that. I've got my buyer agreement. All of a sudden, yours front doesn't look like this. It looks like you, and it looks better than this. And it's really starting to be good. And when you walk in and that first page has got the 4 homes you're showing to a buyer, all of a sudden you're walking in, your steps a little bigger, your shoulders are a little further back, and you're doing it. And it's not done yet, because you can make it better every week. Maybe Tuesdays or Thursdays or WOB days, but they're buyer presentations. And maybe Wednesdays is your listing presentation. And maybe you're practicing your skill sets with anybody here on this call. And said, I want to do, 30 minutes a week scheduled. We're doing a Zoom call or even a phone call. We're going to objection handle, or we're going to present to each other, whatever it is. I used to literally, this is my schedule, folks. I want you to hear this. I got up, I call for sale by owners exclusively. That's what I was told to do. I'm not implying you should do that, because that's not the easy route, I promise you, but that's what I was told. And I just did what I was told. I get up at 5 in the morning because if I got up any later, I wouldn't get it done. I'd work out till 6:15. Then I had the shower time, and then I had 15 minutes of prepping, and I served my children breakfast from 7 to 7:30. From 7:30 to 7:40 exactly. I was chanting my script. 7:40 to 7:50. I was objective handling with a friend of mine. Thank you very much, Mateo. God bless you. I'll call you in a bit, brother. 7:40 to 7:50, I was doing objection handling, and we couldn't legally get on the phones till 8 o'clock. So I started dialing at 7:50, and I'd call from 7:50 to 9 o'clock. And at that point, there wasn't speed dialer, and I had a headset, and I actually had a cassette deck to record it as I got better at it, because my coach wanted to hear my calls and tell me how horrible I was at it, but I wanted to continue to improve. And I sold 26 homes my first year for sale by owner, first year, and then 28, and then 32 homes. And I didn't do it because I'm special. I did it because I was disciplined, and because I said I'm going to be an expert at this, and I work on it. Well, I'm going to let you know a little secret. We're in a really, really crummy market right now. And it's going to be crummy for the next couple of months, probably till around January or February. And then it'll start picking up a bit. But there are people out there saying, I want to buy, but I'm not going to buy right now. I don't like the interest rates. I don't want to do that. I'm going to sell, but I have no place to move to. And they're more willing to tell you that now than they would be to tell you 3 months from now when they said, I am actually looking, but if I tell you, you're going to be all over me. So why wouldn't we keep them informed as you're collecting people that are going to work with you, and keep them informed of what you're hearing about what's going on in the rates? Hey, this article just came out. Looks like we may see something in the future. I just wanted to make sure you had some information. There's a communication that can happen on a weekly basis. And here's another trick for you. I happen to have something called Google Alerts. And for those that don't know it, if you're in real estate, and y'all are, I would challenge you to go to, I think it's alerts.google.com. You can't spell alerts right. I want to show you this because this really is kind of a cool thing. Google.com/alerts. And I'm going to share my screen just to show you what you can put in here. This is for everybody, and this shows up every single day. So this is the Google, I think you can see it's google.com/alerts. And the alerts I'm looking for is, obviously, I want to know if anything GPS Global Partners shows up. So if it's in Google and it shows up, it gets emailed to me every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I get my news feed of what I'm really looking for. Cypress Springs is an area I used to live in. If my name shows up, I want to know. Orlando new developments. Now that's relevant to me. And some of you may know Paul Saperstein. He is an amazing business partner. I put him in here because he wins awards all the time, and I was always forgetting to congratulate him, and that's just shitty of me. So I want to see anything that's news about Paul. Real estate agent growth, real estate breaking news, real estate updates, U.S. housing market, and they all get sent to my email address. Maybe you're interested in mortgages because if you're working with buyers, you want to keep them informed, and you can change these all you want. But wouldn't it be cool as your buyers coming into your KV Core, because maybe you're using that search mechanism. I was just showing you how to do that, setting up the foreclosures, the best golf course homes, the waterfront homes that are available, whatever you're doing, you can put out a bunch of those, maybe one a week, see what happens. Wouldn't it be great to have something to communicate? There you go. Wouldn't it be great to show up and have what turns out to be better, great, phenomenal buyer presentation where you literally do what Max did with Open House and have the best, most comprehensive, value-driven buyer presentation, period. Because nobody's done what you've done over the last 100 days. And come February, all of a sudden, a buyer gets in the car with you. And not only do they get in a car and buy a home with you, because you really made a commitment to this, but they talk about that. And you get a Google review about how you are the most professional, and a review on Zillow, and a referral. That's how this business works. It's being the best we possibly can to serve our clients at the highest level. And that takes work on our part because, truth be told, none of us are ready right now. Jackie and I are doing an open house this weekend for a house that we listed for a friend of ours, and it's literally painted all black. And Tiffany, can you turn off the thing real quick?